The old wooden door slammed open so hard that even the jukebox stuttered into silence. Dust and sunlight poured in from the street, and there she stood, a little girl no older than 8, with trembling hands and eyes full of something no child should carry. Fury and heartbreak all tangled into one. She held a black pistol straight at the row of men in leather vests that said Iron Demons. "Who's my father?" she asked, her small voice cracking in the middle, a mix of demand and despair. Every man in that bar froze. The air turned thick, still, like the world had paused to listen. The leader, a tall man with a grizzled beard and eyes the color of storm clouds, didn't move an inch. The beer in his hand stayed midair. Around him, his men looked at one another, confused, tense, unsure whether to laugh or duck, but no one made a sound. The barrel of the girl's gun didn't waver, even through her shaking fingers. The way she aimed it, straight, steady, unflinching, said she wasn't bluffing. Then the man they called Lennox finally spoke, his voice low, rough like gravel dragged across metal. "Put the gun down, kid." Her lips trembled. "Tell me first." The way she said it made even the toughest biker in the room look down. She wasn't afraid of dying. She was afraid of being ignored again. If you believe in real human courage, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. This is Everyday Heroes. I said, "Put it down." Lennox's voice hardened. He took a slow step forward, but she stepped back, finger twitching. The air buzzed with tension. Somewhere, a ceiling fan creaked. Outside, a dog barked once and went silent. Then she said, "Quieter now. My mama said if I ever find the man with fire on his arms, I'd know who he was." Lennox looked down at his forearms, thick, scarred, wrapped in black ink flames curling around a skull. His breath caught. Around him, the other men shifted uneasily. "Kid?" he finally asked. "What's your name?" "Lily." The name hit him like a bullet through memory. His face changed, not shock, not fear, something else, something like guilt. Her voice cracked again. "My mama's gone. She told me to find you." The bar went quiet enough to hear the hum of the neon lights. Lennox's throat worked as if the words were stuck. The woman behind the counter, Mara, stopped polishing glasses and froze. "Lennox," she whispered, "is this what I think it is?" He didn't answer. Couldn't. His eyes were already giving away too much. The gun began to shake in Lily's small hands now, not from rage, but exhaustion. She had come a long way to get here, too far for someone so young. "Don't move," she said through tears. "You don't get to talk like you didn't leave her." The bikers looked anywhere but at her. Even men who'd seen war, who'd buried brothers, couldn't stand the sound of that child's voice breaking. Finally, Lennox asked quietly, "Your mama's name was Claire?" Lily nodded, her face tight with pain. He shut his eyes, a storm moving behind them. "She told me you were gone, that you both didn't make it. She told me you were a liar," Lily said, tears spilling now. "That you chose your gang over us. That you left her to die." He nodded slowly, every word like a knife turned inward. She's not wrong. The confession hung in the air like smoke that wouldn't clear. Outside, thunder rolled somewhere far away. Lily took a step closer. "She said if I didn't find you, he would." Lennox frowned. "Who?" She swallowed hard. "A man named Ray Cutter." The name dropped like a curse. Even the men who'd been silent exchanged glances. Someone whispered, "He's supposed to be dead." Lennox's face went pale. "He's not." The girl nodded, tears clinging to her lashes. "He said he'd come for me next." Lennox stared at her, realizing that the past he'd buried was coming back, in flesh, in pain, and now, in the shape of the daughter he'd abandoned. The wind howled outside. He turned to his men. "Lock the doors. Cutter's coming." Mara stepped forward. "What about her?" "She stays here," he said firmly. "I'm not hiding," Lily snapped. He looked at her, seeing Claire's fire in her eyes. He almost smiled, broken, proud, terrified. "You got more courage than half my men," he said. "But this fight, this one's mine." Outside, engines roared in the distance, a low, approaching thunder. The sound of hell arriving on 2 wheels. Lennox reached out, gently taking the pistol from her hands. She let him. "You shouldn't have to carry this," he said softly. Then the headlights appeared, a line of bikes cutting through the dust. The Iron Demons stood ready, each man gripping whatever weapon he had, guns, chains, iron rods. They weren't heroes, but they were loyal. Lennox stepped outside, wind whipping his hair. Ray Cutter dismounted first, older but meaner, tattoos creeping up his neck like weeds. He grinned when he saw Lennox. "Well, well," he drawled. "If it ain't the ghost of the Iron Demons, heard you got yourself a kid." Lennox didn't flinch. "She's not yours to talk about." Cutter laughed, the sound like sandpaper. "Her mama owed me." "Guess debts get inherited." Lennox's voice dropped, dangerous and low. "You touch her, you die." Big talk from a man who ran away. Lennox's eyes burned. Not running today. The next second exploded into chaos. Gunfire, shouts, shattered glass. Mara dragged Lily behind the counter as bottles burst above them, raining shards and smoke. Outside, fists met faces, boots hit dirt, engines screamed. Lennox fought like a man trying to earn forgiveness with his own blood. He took a hit to the ribs, spat crimson, swung back harder. Cutter lunged with a knife, rage twisting his face. Lennox caught his wrist, twisted, a bone cracked. Cutter screamed, slammed him into a wall. "You left her to die," Cutter snarled. Lennox's voice thundered back, "and I'll spend the rest of my life making it right." They crashed through the bar door and into the dust. The world narrowed to the sound of struggle, fists, breath, pain, memory. Cutter reached for his gun. A single shot cracked through the desert air. Lily screamed. When the smoke cleared, Cutter lay still. Lennox stood over him, bleeding, shaking, alive. The world went silent again, broken only by the wind moving through the open door. Inside, the bar was wrecked, splintered wood, broken glass, and the smell of spent gunpowder. Lily stood frozen. Lennox turned toward her, clutching his wounded shoulder, his voice raw. "Your mama was right to hate me," he said softly. "But she was wrong about one thing. I never stopped loving you both." Lily stared at him, searching, not for words, but for truth. And then she whispered, "Then don't leave again." Something in him broke open and healed at the same time. He smiled weakly through tears. "I won't, not ever." She ran into his arms. He winced from the pain but held her tighter, as if he'd been waiting his whole life for this hug. By morning, the police had come and gone. Cutter was taken away in handcuffs, barely conscious. The Iron Demons, men who had lived by rebellion and regret, stood silent, watching Lennox and the little girl on the porch as dawn turned the desert gold. Mara brought Lily a cup of cocoa and patched up Lennox's shoulder. No one said much. The quiet was a new kind of peace. Lily looked up at him. "Was Mama scared when she died?" Lennox stared at the horizon. "She was strong till the end. And now, you've got that same strength." She leaned her head on his arm, small and steady. "Guess I found my father," he smiled, voice barely above a whisper. "No, sweetheart, you found your hero." Weeks later, the old biker bar had a new name, Claire's Diner. The skull emblem was gone, replaced with a wooden sign carved by hand. On the counter sat a framed photo of Claire holding baby Lily in her arms. Every morning, Lennox touched that frame before unlocking the doors. Outside, Lily played with a stray dog she'd named Rusty, laughing in the sun. The men still wore their old vests, but the patches had changed. They no longer read Iron Demons. They now said Iron Hearts. Sometimes travelers would stop by, see the sign, and ask about the name. And Lennox would smile a small, proud smile and say, "It's a reminder that even the worst of us can find our way back, if we're brave enough to face the truth." And somewhere inside, a little girl who once carried a gun now carried something far more powerful, hope. If this story touched your heart, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it. You're watching Everyday Heroes.